Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Davo from Esports, bringing you another 1v1 Starcraft 2cast today. This time on Cloud Kingdom, and this time it is a TVP. Awesome! So, our two players today, let's introduce them. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have Weiman, and he is the uploader of the video today, and he is playing as the red Terran. And in the top right-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss today, who is Lee. Oh, let's just get the name tabs up there. Excellent. Just so we know exactly who is who all the way through the game. Excellent. Yay! Okay, so we do have Lee putting down his pylon right here, so he's not going for any sort of early expand or cheekiness or anything like that, and he is actually going to go for a straight up scout pretty dang quickly to try and see what Weiman is up to. And as I say, this is diamond level play, so it is good level play. They're not masters, but that is no problem at all. I do actually believe that Lee is rank 1 diamond at the time of this replay being played, as it were. I mean, the game being played at the replay is of. So he was rank 1 diamond at the time. Weiman was like rank 18 or 12 or something like that. So yeah, they're by no means bad players at all. And something that is bad is my frames per second at the moment. Is it getting better? I think so. Yeah, I think we're looking good. Yeah, my poor little computer is a warhorse. So we do have Lee scouting around Weiman's base, having a nice look around, seeing if there's any cheekiness going on, which there doesn't appear to be. Meanwhile, back in Lee's base, he is very much doing a very kind of standard opener here, getting his gas right when he should be, and gateway as well. Pretty much, obviously, a pylon will probably go down next to stop our Protoss player from getting supply blocked or anything like that. Or indeed, he'll just go straight for the cybernetics core. I mean, some Protoss do like to get their pylon before cybernetics core as well. But hey ho, that's absolutely fine. As I say, good level of play, absolutely fine. Oh, there's a pylon there, in the middle of the mineral line. Okay, so Lee being a little bit cheeky, throwing down a pylon in the middle of the mineral line, trying to mana block his opponent somewhat. Just so you don't, if you don't know, mana blocking is kind of where you put a pylon down, or a building down for that matter, to block the route of a mining unit, such as an SCV drone or probe. But it's most really effectively done with refineries, because these guys, you know, kind of go in a straight line more often, whereas these guys kind of have to go round the pylon, which is a little bit more easier for them. But nevertheless, that would have slightly hurt Weiman's economy, ever so slightly. And we do have a probe coming down here, and it'll be interesting to see if this probe from Lee is going to be building a proxy pylon or anything like that. It does also look like perhaps he'll be going for an expansion. Yes, he is going for an expansion, so that is going down right now. The Zealot here is unfortunately not going to be able to catch up with the SCV, and the SCV is going to see the expansion on the way. Meanwhile, from Weiman, we have a starport on the way. So, and we have a tech lab on the factory as well to gas, so we could see some sort of Banshee play coming in, which could be pretty dang interesting, because Banshee play is always fun. Yes, it is. Yeah, it does actually look like we're going to have Banshee play, or maybe a Raven or something like that out for the time being from Weiman, or at least that's what I'm going to predict. That is what I'm going to predict. So, I mean, Weiman hasn't actually expanded yet, and Lee has, so Weiman's going to want to do something fairly soon to try and make sure that he's not too disadvantaged by this. And yeah, actually, it does actually look like he's going to be expanding pretty soon now, with the bunker going down there to secure the low ground. I'd half expect him to save up to 400 minerals and go and plop down a command center soon as well. But I mean, Protoss are quite, I don't know, I mean, Terran units in a bunker are quite resilient versus Protoss. So I mean, it'll be pretty interesting to see what happens if there is an attack here, but I think generally speaking the guys in the bunkers will probably win, no problem. And that's right, we have a Raven on the way. Cool beans. So we have this kind of Raven Siege Tank Marine mix that we have been seeing from Terrans lately, and it is a bit all-in-y, in my opinion, because I mean, well, quite frankly, you're getting loads of units that cost loads and loads of stuff, and of course that voids your ability to get an expansion nice and early. And of course you are actually reactoring out Marines as well. That was a probe, I presume, just eating shit over there and getting completely cleaned up very, very quickly indeed. But yeah, Ravens are pretty dang good units, especially if you use the this thingy, the point defense drone. I always just remember as the thing that looks like the scout from Star Wars on the planet Hoth, the one that Han Solo and Chewbacca kill, if you have seen The Empire Strikes Back, which, by the way, is the best Star Wars film of all time. Open discussion. Or at least I believe it to be the best Star Wars film of all time. So Lee is going to be scouting down here into Weiman's base and seeing that there is no expansion just yet. Now, this build order, I have actually seen it on ladder, and it's really, really difficult to deal with as Protoss. That obs there is just dicing with death a little bit, coming a little bit close to the Raven, and these Marines who are holding guns very nearly getting completely shot down. I'm sure when Weiman moves out, Lee will know about it. We also have the siege tech on the way, and this is what I mean by like how much stuff a Terran gets before it's kind of an all-in play. The Banshee coming round the right-hand side of the map here does look like he's going to be trying to interfere with the mineral line of Lee. So that'll be interesting to see what happens here. And another obs being positioned over here just to make sure that if his opponent moves out, he knows exactly what he's doing. Also, Lee may have wanted to scout up here to see if Weiman has got an expansion yet, but no, he doesn't, because Weiman is doing a kind of an all-in-y play. He doesn't have his expansion up yet, and this is getting dangerous now, so really his attack needs to work. Otherwise, he's not going to have much of an economy to fall back on, so we will just have to see what happens. What happens? So we didn't have to see what happened for the Banshee, because unfortunately she's lost most of her health. With 22 HP remaining, she is limping home right now. Poor old gal. And it doesn't look like that obs will get taken down. Boom. Into less pieces than it probably should have for the size of an obs. The SCVs there running to repair said Banshee. Not a bad choice at all, but you have to wonder, how do they repair something that is in the air? It's very, very interesting indeed. Oh well, it's a video game, it doesn't have to make sense, and here we go. It's a rather large all-in from Weiman coming up here, even taking SCVs off the line and going for it. It is thoroughly scouted by Lee, who knows exactly what is going on. The Observer gets taken down, as well as a Stalker just there as well, and this should be a pretty awesome battle to watch. This Protoss army is going to have to be scared right now, because this combination is very, very hard to deal with indeed, especially when it's an all-in format like this, and there are SCVs there. Splitting the SCVs off from the siege tanks, nice one there from Lee, but will it be enough? That is the question. These Immortals here are really being instrumental in taking down quite a lot of these Terran units, but I just don't think it will be enough, especially with that point defense drone pretty much nullifying how useful these Stalkers are, and that looks like it is Weiman's battle to take. So far, at least. Going up here as any army that isn't Protoss can be very, very risky indeed, because if your Protoss is at the top here and manages to force field you halfway like that, he's got you absolutely stuck. A little bit like what Lee has just done to Weiman there, actually. Some nice force fields going around here would be pretty good right now as well, but we don't see them just yet, as it looks although Weiman has actually very cleverly focused down the sentry from Lee. Now the thing is, I think Lee knows that this is an all-in kind of play, but I just don't think that he's going to be able to defend it so easily. Another Immortal going down pretty quickly. Ooh, Pro's being called off the line from Lee. 2 can play at that game, he says. And there we go. Most of the ground armies from Weiman being cleared up straight away. And Lee is almost free of this massive kamikaze attack from Weiman. Meanwhile, more units are still streaming in from Weiman right now, and it does actually look like the attack will continue. And it looks like the natural expansion may actually still go down from Lee. Still no expansion here from Weiman. No time to expand when the all-in is taking place, obviously. Meanwhile, we have more combat here on the front line, and it does look like this could be broken fairly easily. That siege tank going down with one hit because he was just on low HP anyway, and this might be a good time for Lee to warp in more units. I mean, he is pumping the Immortals out, and of course Immortals with their really nice hardened shield, and very, very good against siege tanks and banshees. They do suffer a tiny bit against Marines, but seeing as there are only 2 Marines there, it's not a big deal at all. And the work has just started on taking down the natural nexus from Lee right there. And it does look like perhaps this all-in is going to be worth it from Weiman. Maybe, but that's actually quite a lot of Protoss units coming down the ramp right now. And siege tank fire, you gotta remember, isn't actually as effective against Protoss as it is against Zerg and Terran, because Protoss have far less biological units than those two. They've got the armored mechanical units, really quite a lot more than the light biological ones that are affected more by siege tank play. And it does actually look like Lee was able to hold off that attack pretty well. So Weiman, unfortunately, being left with his slightly, largely reduced SCV count, with 17 SCVs to 27 of Lee right now. But he does have mules, which collect 30 minerals per trip, and he is actually starting to expand right now as well. I think he pulled out at just the right time, because he's kind of left himself with enough stuff to be able to defend himself, which is of course very important. And here we go, we do have Weiman coming in to do some really, really nice harassment right here with a cloaked banshee. And let's just watch that worker's kill go up and up and up there from Weiman, and he has actually killed 25 workers, which is pretty dang good, actually. Not bad at all. So we do have Weiman's army going back to base at the moment. I'm going to be wanting to get that command center up too. I mean, at the moment we have, was it 20 workers on the map for Weiman right now. No mules currently. The command center is actually able to get one, but that's, oh, there we go. There's the mule coming down right now, sharp as a freshly sharpened butter knife from Weiman. Awesome. And another ob's coming in from Lee, seeing what his cheeky Terran opponent is up to after that dramatic all-in. An orbital command being morphed right now as well. So Lee has really just, again, got a kind of standard composition, of roughly the same kind of composition that he had when he was attacked. And funnily enough, I mean, both players are kind of at the same sort of stage now. I mean, Lee did have that advantage earlier where he did have his natural expansion up for a little while. And that, of course, will help him. But really, I think, if we think only in the present, both these players are roughly at the same kind of stage in the game, and that's pretty cool. It's not often that you get to 18 minutes in and the game is fairly even like this. Neither player have got upgrades for weapons or armor yet, but that's fine. I'm sure they've been looking at each other and each battle to see if the opponent has got the weapons and armor upgrades. But of course, who will take that vital step first? That is the question. Let's go back to the production tab, and we see a reactor going down on a starport. So we can presume that we're going to see a more kind of standard, maybe bio-orientated play from Weiman, seeing as 2 barracks have just finished as well. And it does look like that is what we will see, kind of recovering from his all-in that kind of worked. Kind of. I mean, he's definitely weakened Lee a little bit. Lee did lose his expansion, so that's entirely fair. Fair play right there. Ooh, a nice stealth banshee up there, taking down a lot of workers. Let's see how many workers. Previous it was 25, so it's 2 more workers lost there for for Lee. Whoa! Did anyone else hear that? That was awesome. Don't know if anyone heard that. And here we have Protoss army on the move. And the Protoss army is going to want to be kind of careful, because this is a Terran army that you might not want to mess with just yet. I mean, maybe get some Colossi on the field or something like that, just to kind of give... Oh, there we go, he says. Just to give you that final little bit of edge, you know, and make sure that everything is going to go off without a hitch. And of course we have the extended thermal lance coming for our Protoss player, which is a very, very important upgrade indeed, because it lets your units run forward and do loads and loads of damage while the Colossus sits back there and blasts away. Now we have the 1 weapons on the way for Weiman right now, and that is pretty dang good, and it looks like he's gearing up to go for a drop. I don't know if he knows... Ooh, I don't think he knows that this attack is on the way, but if this medvac is unlucky enough, they will certainly know the attack is on the way then, because the medvac is going to fly over and get completely destroyed all of a sudden. It's going to be a good question whether or not this medvac still carries on with his mission, or her mission even. It does look like she will, but one group of sentient beings that won't carry on with their mission are these Protoss units, who are going to be going back and looking like they're going to defend their third base a little bit too. An observer coming out here is... Yep, an observer coming out there has actually just spotted that medvac coming into the base of Lee from behind. It wouldn't surprise me if the robotics baby got focused down. But that's a very, very good response from Lee, and it does actually look like that drop is going to be entirely ineffective, unfortunately for Weiman. By the way, I hope I'm saying Weiman's name right. I hope it's not Weiman or Weiman, but I'm just saying it as Weiman, if that is okay. Awesome. So that's a little bit more of a fiercer looking Protoss army right now. And it looks like our Terran player Weiman is actually going to be expanding into the third position of the map right now, with SCVs trailing in between the command center. But no worries, once they mine these luscious new blue mineral crop things right here, they will go straight into this yummy command center's mouth, and that will go up and down and eat them. Well, it won't go up and down, but I'd like to think it would. Oh, there we go, it went up. I am talking the largest amount of bollocks, excuse me. Dear oh dear. Well, here we have a pylon from Lee, actually. Seeing as it's only meters away from the command center, this could be a pretty useful resource for him. Meanwhile, we have the medvac here with 4 guys in it, who had a pretty tough landing previously, lost 4 of their comrades. I'm sure they won't be attempting something like that anytime soon. And can I just point out in this moment of silence that we have Archons on the way for Lee? And that's pretty dang cool. Archons are wicked. Oh, and also we have High Templar on the field as well. The question is, we don't have Psystorm just yet. I mean, Psystorm is a very, very effective weapon against Terran armies the world around, but something that's very, very good against that is the Ghost Academy. Oh yeah. Lets you make ghosts, get EMP, and then rain the pain, as it were. What I am quickly going to say before this attack takes place is, Weiman is using the Zerg symbol on his Terran buildings. That is so freaking cool. That is what I was going to say. More Archons on the way now for Weiman right now. Sorry, Lee on the way right now. Lee still having not got his weapons or armor upgrades, and here we go, we do have some Immortals leading the charge, and who better to lead the charge but the Immortals, because they take maximum amounts of damage, really. And here we go, this is a big, big attack coming in from Lee right now, microing right into the center of the Terran army, just so those Archons can do their thing and do as much damage as humanly possible. But it does look like maybe perhaps this will get cleared up by Weiman, maybe perhaps being the word. And there we go, there is a wow from Lee. Yes, 1-1 completed about a minute before the push take place. Ouch. But there we go from Weiman and Lee. Lee actually leaving without a GG, which is really unfortunate. You know, wow, 11 just 1-1 complete. Do you know what I pushed? Damn. I like to say that Terran units, when they're at 1-1, they're taking it up to 11. But then, of course, when they go up to 2-2, they're taking it up to 22. And when they go up to 3-3, they're taking it up to 33. So, you know, we'll see. Personally, I would have got Psystorms, to be honest, against this composition, especially with the mix of the nice force fields there. Some Psystorms really would have been very, very nice indeed. But of course, the Ghost was on the field. I wasn't actually sure if he had any EMP ready to go against Weiman, but that is that. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks to Weiman for uploading the video to cast it, for me to drool over, and just generally have a good time while casting it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys next time. Cheers.